Greasing your snowblower augers. Some have grease fittings or Zerks. Some models like this snowblower don't. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to lubricate these Zerkless augers. Let's go. Hey guys and gals, welcome to Garage Gear. I'm JB, giving you the best tips and tricks to survive life in and out of the garage. And if you're feeling the vibe and you want to be part of the tribe, subscribe. Before we get all lubed up, let's talk about what's going on here. A common question that I get a lot is, why do I need to lubricate these augers in the first place? Now, one may think that since the augers are held in place by a shear pin and that they don't necessarily spin on the shaft, that you don't have to worry about greasing them. Wrong. Now, if these augers were to become seized to the shaft and you were to hit something big like a rock or a fallen tree branch, the seized auger and shaft could damage your gearbox. The shear pin would basically become useless at that point. And repairing a gearbox can be expensive and time consuming. Just so we're clear here, this video will predominantly focus on the augers themselves and not the gearbox. So to lubricate these augers, there's an easy way and a hard way. In this video, I'll be showing how I do this the easy way, and I've never seen a set of augers seized using this method. I'll discuss the hard way later. This job is gonna get messy, so put some cardboard down. First step, we're gonna pull out the spark plug to prevent any unwanted startups. You might even wanna throw on some gloves. Next, I'm going to remove all my shear pins. And on this model, there are 4 of them, 1 for each auger. All the shear pins are out. Now all your augers should be loose. Now to lubricate these Zerkless augers, there are a lot of products that you could use. You're going to want something that's thinner, but won't wash out as easy. For this procedure, I like to use fluid film. I've tried red and tacky aerosol grease and white lithium grease, and these work okay, but these ones really didn't creep into tight spaces like I wanted them to. WD-40, which I have used in the past, does work fine too, but it washes out pretty quick. I've even seen guys use 75 W90 gear oil, which does work pretty well. Fluid film is kind of that perfect middle ground. It's an excellent lubricant and a superior penetrant. I actually used to undercoat my truck with this years ago, and it would hold up all year long. So this stuff will definitely stick around for a while. Plus, it's safe on plastic and rubber components. By the way, this was sent to us by our good friends over at Pro Parts Direct. Thank you very much. All right, let's start spraying this guy down. What I like to do first is stick the straw as far into the shear pin hole as I can, and as I spray, pull her out. Good. I'm gonna try it from the other direction now. Good. And now I'm just gonna do that to the other 3. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by the gearbox, and I'm going to start on this outside ring. It's a good idea first to make sure that there's no leaks, so that way you know your gearbox is in tip-top shape. What you can do here is grab this ring, pull it back a little bit, and start spraying. Good. Now from here I'm going to push that ring back toward the gearbox, spray inside that little gap. Drippy, drippy, drippy. Then from here, move that off to the side, spray again. Good. Look at that. Oozing everywhere. Now what I'm going to do from here is find a little gap, and I'm going to try to stick this straw right underneath this first auger. Give it a good hard spray. Move it a little bit. Find a little gap. There's one. Hose it down. Good. Stuff's coming out of everywhere. Same thing on this side. Get in this little gap. There's these little tiny notches here. Stick it in. Spray it down. Another one. Yeah. I'll tell you what, that spins really nice. And to keep this video spinning with the YouTube algorithm, would you mind taking a super quick second to hit that like button down below? Thank you. I greatly appreciate it. From here, what I'm going to do now is try to angle underneath this plastic spacer. Shuffle that over a little bit and do the other side. Good. Now we're going to hit it down this other auger. Got a little gap here. Stick the straw underneath. Spray it. Shuffle it around. Stick it under. Spray. Now these ends can get a little tricky. Again, stick the straw in as best you can. Angle it, spray it. Give it a little spin, spray it. You got some thin little plastic bushings here on the side. If you can shuffle them over, good, spray them down. Now from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the straw and I'm going to stick it in at the top of this bushing and hose it down inside the bushing. Work my way around. Just cram these things. That is a lot of excess, but who cares? I love it. Just coat everything. Now, another thing that I like to do here is not line up these holes where the shear pins go and then just spray the shaft inside. Move it a little bit, spray it again. Yeah, get it all in there. If you can see it coming out the sides, which I just did, you're doing well with this. Get it all in there. Good. Same thing here on this one. I'm going to spray down the hole. Yeah, it's coming out the sides again. Great. No doubt about it, this is messy, but it does a great job. Let's do the other side here. I'm gonna pull these off to the side. I got lots of room here now by this gearbox. You can see the shaft underneath. Spray it all around. Shuffle this spacer back. Now you got a nice gap at the shaft here. Try to shoot it underneath these plastic spacers as well, because moisture can get trapped underneath there and you could rust out the shaft underneath. Same thing, slide over this little spacer, hit it. That is coated. Now from here, I'm gonna slide over my augers, spray it in from the side. Give it a little spin, spray it again. Shuffle it over, hit it from this side. Good. Spin it a little bit, spray it again. Again, from here, twist up your auger just a little bit, shoot down the shear pin hole, but not down through the entire shear pin hole. Yeah, that's filling that cavity right up. Come to the other side. You can hear the difference when it's not going through the shear pin hole. It's just cramming that thing full. That's lubricated. Now we're gonna get under this plastic spacer. Good, spin it a little bit. Under the thin one, slide it over. And now the last auger, we're gonna slide this over. There's a little channel right here at the top that I can see. We're gonna squirt down. Yeah, fill it right up. Good, spin it a little bit. Slide it over, tack it from this side. Little channel, spray it in. Cram that thing. And to wrap this up, I'm gonna shoot down that shear pin hole, but not entirely through the shear pin hole. You can hear the difference. Fill it right up. Spin it around, shoot it this side. This feels like a night and day difference right here. And we're gonna get inside this bushing here. We're gonna spray in and work our way around. And inside these little plastic spacers on the side. Oh my gosh, look at the fluid film pouring out of this thing. This thing is well lubricated. Now that is a lot of overspray, and that's okay because all that overspray is actually a convenience. You can wipe it all around so it doesn't look so messy, and it will actually protect the metal components for a number of uses. You got it where it counts. Now we're just gonna coat the augers and protect them. This rag actually felt super heavy when I was done because it was so saturated with fluid fill. From here, we're just gonna reinstall the shear pins. You may have to wiggle the augers around a little bit to get them in the exact right spot that they once were. I'm gonna reinstall the bolt from the back so that way I can easily get to the nut on the front. Okay, now we're just gonna tighten them on up. One last final step that you could take here is you could use some silicone spray like this and spray the entire inside of the auger housing, including the augers themselves. This silicone's a little thinner and will creep into any little areas that you may have missed, further protecting your machine and lubricating your augers. These augers are now all set and are gonna spin great. Plug back in the spark plug. Now let's take a second and talk about the hard way. This way really grinds my gears. I've done this procedure once before and I will never do it again. Here's why. Number one, as I mentioned earlier, I've never seen a set of augers seized doing this easy method. Number two, the hard way can just become far too time consuming. Perhaps if you have to fix your bushings on the sides or maybe your gearbox here in the center, then I would maybe consider doing the hard way. Here's what you have to do. First, you have to remove the belt cover and then split the machine, unbolt it here in the middle as if you were doing a belt change. The machine will then split into two halves, one over here and then the bucket on this side. Once you have this detached, you'll see a giant pulley on this side that links to a belt that drives your augers. You're gonna have to take the bolts off of that pulley, and that's where the big problem can be. Those bolts can be a huge chore if they're seized on. Once you're done fighting with those bolts on the backside, which could take a while in some cases, this auger shaft here should be free. Then you're gonna undo your bushing bolts here on the sides, and this whole auger assembly should come out. From there, you're gonna undo the shear pins, take off your augers and all the little pieces in between one at a time, and then grease the shaft and then put them all back on as they were. From there, once you've greased everything, you're just gonna reverse the whole process and put everything back together. Now you might say, JB, that doesn't sound too bad, but wait until you find that one bolt. That one bolt may not come free for a while and you'll lose an entire afternoon. And you'll have a mess of parts all over your garage. I personally will stick with the easy way on these Zerkless augers all the time. If you check the augers and the shear pins once a season and lubricate them really quick, you shouldn't see any signs of seizing anytime soon. For more cool garage gear videos, click or tap the screen right here. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the garage.